Good afternoon. This is your boy Butler. Today is the best day of my life. Tomorrow's not promised. Go on, do your little dance while they still playing your song. Um, Tonight we have an exclusive interview with the mother of Almir Harris. Almir was once on my caseload. He is the reason I quit defects. I'm not gonna talk your head off. I'm gonna start this live off with saying, if humans treated humans like humans, the world would be a better place. And it's just that simple. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Good evening.
How are you?
I'm about as well as can be expected.
Understandable.
Mhm.
For the people who don't know, can you please tell the world who Almir Harris is?
So Almir Harris is my youngest son.
Okay.
He was 23 years old. He was born prematurely. He had always been kind of monitored, cared for from early intervention to special education, to getting to some murky waters around his puberty age,
Okay.
where he started manifesting some behaviors. We weren't real clear about what was going on. We reached out to DFACS trying to get some help to see, could you assign us a social worker or something to help us get some help, figure out what's going on, get my son the help he needs. My goal is to make sure he has a successful school career, that he gets educated and all those wonderful things that every parent wants for their kid. And so we moved from him being placed into defects care to being tricked into signing himself out of defects custody, to him ending up in the penal system. And from the penal system doing what it does in the state of Georgia, especially, my son is now deceased, effective December 31st of 2024.
First of all, I want to say sorry for your loss. I knew Almir personally.
Yes.
He was a awesome spirit. I told you months ago, and I'll tell you again, his death was not in vain. Other people are going to be able to live a better life because of his experience. I don't want to go too far back, but I do want to get your one of the things that just stuck out that you said is that he was tricked into signing himself out of defects custody.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I can't say the name of the case manager. At least I don't think I should do that.
Okay.
But one day, I'm going to say this, one day I received a phone call. Almir was at the DFACS office with his case manager's supervisor, and I forget, but I know there were two other people in the room.
How old was Almir at this time?
He was 20.
Okay.
And I was told that he could stay in defects custody until he was 22 or 23, I forget.
Okay.
But so they called me on speakerphone, and what they were doing at that time was trying to get me to convince Almir to sign himself out. And I said, okay, so why would you want me to do that? And they said, well, it would be a lot easier for you to get a waiver from the state, to get his DHDBDD something. I forget what it's called. But if he signed himself out, it would be easier for you as his mom to get it for him than it is for us as the agency that's supposed to do all that stuff to get it for him. And then he could get services, because in Almir's mind at the time, he wanted to live independently. He wanted to live alone. And they were telling him, well, in order for you to do that, like, you got to have stuff in place. You got to have a waiver. You got to have the DDD, whatever it's called.
Wait, all that stuff. Is Almir mentally capable of living on his own at this time, though?
No, he was not.
Okay.
I knew from a while back that Almir would never, ever be able to live independently.
That's what I was wondering about, because when I ran into Almir, he was new into the defect system.
Right.
And he and I connected because he had this humanistic aspect about him, and he just kind of live life on his own terms. So we kind of opened. I just found out yesterday that we both Pisces, so then that answers so many different questions. But I just remember, and people who are listening, if you heard the story, I'm gonna keep telling, and I'm gonna tell it, and I'm gonna tell it again. But
Mm-hmm.
Amir was at Defects. I was working third shift at Defects, and he got into an altercation with another young man. And I thought because of the violence that had taken place within this, I'm gonna say assault, that
Mm-hmm.
either he or the other young man would be moved to another location. To my
Right.
disappointment, upon arriving back to work a few days later, they were all still in the same house. The only difference was is that Almir had a sling of some sort on his arm, and now the doors of this facility, all the bedroom doors were taken off. And
Wow.
I'm not the smartest person in the world. I did not come up with the idea of defects or housing individuals, but to me, it just did not seem logical. It just did not make sense. Then I
Right.
came to some personal conclusions. One of
Mm-hmm.
those conclusions was this: is that just because you are getting paid does not mean that the job is getting done.
Correct.
And I took it personally. When I say I took it personally, like
Mm-hmm.
um I got to be able to look myself in the mirror. I got to know that if I'm interacting in somebody's life, I'm adding
Mm-hmm.
to their life.
Right.
And if I'm unable to add to their life, then I should move out of the way and allow somebody else to do what it is that they need to do. So I quit Defects. I
Mm-hmm.
quit from that house. I stopped working with that entity in totality because
Mm-hmm.
of your son.
Wow.
I don't know how many times I've told that story, and it's unfortunate because I've told it while he was still alive, and he never
Right.
got to hear it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But
Right.
I tell it to parents so they know that, hey man, this is, if I'm not gonna help, I'm just gonna get out of the way. So again, your son is the reason why I'm doing the work that I do. So even within
Mm.
that, even with the way that I interact with kids, male, female, white, black, autistic, it don't matter what's going on. I am going
That's
to
right.
treat that child the way a human is supposed to be treated. And if I'm not able to, I'm stepping away.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
Okay,
Just
so I'm sorry,
so
go ahead.
back to the thing. So what happened was they were all in this room with Almir in their presence and me on a speakerphone because they didn't invite me to come to the defects office where they were at. And so they sit there and they're telling him all the great things that are going to happen as soon as he signs the papers, and they're telling me the same stuff. And I'm saying, okay, so you're sure that this is the best option for him at this time? And they're like, well, yes, because A, B, and C. All right. So they're like, but he's not going to sign it if you don't tell him to sign a paper. And I'm like, so if you're assuring me that this is the best option for him is to sign himself out so that he can get the services he needs to help him, then okay, Amir, then I'm going to go ahead and tell you to go ahead and sign the paper. And as soon as I said paper, I heard click.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. They tricked him because he was arrested not long after that. And that's when, unfortunately, his stint in the Georgia Department of Corrections began.
Okay,
And
so
I believe
stop right there. So he's 20 when he signs this paper.
I want to say he was either 20 or 19.
Okay. And so how long like when he leaves Defects custody, where does he go?
At that time?
Yes.
To my understanding, if I remember correctly, what ended up happening is even though they signed him out of defects custody, they had been in touch with Amir's brother, who lives in Virginia.
Okay.
And his brother was quite upset when all of this happened, but apparently, I almost said the name. Okay, his case manager took Almir on a plane from Atlanta, Georgia, and flew him to Norfolk, Virginia, and dropped him off at my son's house.
What?
My son was not prepared for his brother to be there. My son has two small children. At the time, he only had one. I'm sorry. He had one small child at home with his fiance at the time. But my son, he owns a business. He's an entrepreneur. He's not home all the time.
Okay.
So that was a lot because he had to kind of reconfigure what was going to happen, who's going to watch Almir, because Almir cannot be left unattended.
Okay.
He cannot.
Right.
Can't live independently. So, that became an issue, and it didn't last but a couple of weeks. And we ended up, driving up to Virginia to go pick him up and bring him back home.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So then he was with us.
Okay.
And it wasn't long after that he ended up getting arrested. That was in 2021.
Okay, what was he arrested for?
So Almir wasn't committing any crime. He was having a mental crisis.
Okay.
We called Fayette County police to try to get transport over to Piedmont Fayette Hospital for him to get a psych evaluation because he was having a mental crisis.
Right.
The first time they came, he had not escalated, but he was definitely upset, and so they refused to take him because he's not presenting, the behavior that we need to see in order to 1013. I'm like, I didn't ask you to 1013 him. I told you he needs a psych evaluation.
What does a 1013 mean?
Okay, so a 1013 is an involuntary admission to the hospital in the psychiatric portion of the hospital for an evaluation, and legally they can only hold you for 72 hours.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So that was the first phone call on this day. We called 3 times within 45 minutes because he kept escalating. Every time the police would leave, he escalated up. They would leave again, they escalate up. So the 4th time we called, he had actually gone completely in. He had destroyed my house. Everything that could be broken was broken. And so when they got there that time and saw all of the stuff he had destroyed, if you ask me, some egos kicked in. Because I remember one of the cops, and I would love to see their body cam footage. One of the cops decided to turn his back on the other officers while they had my son face down on my sofa. One of them had his knee in my son's back, close to his neck. And Almir, he was fighting. He's autistic. You can't touch autistic people. That sets them off.
Right.
So you got 2 officers trying to put handcuffs on him, but because his adrenaline is through the roof, so he's super strong right now, and they having trouble getting a pair of handcuffs on him. 4 cops couldn't get these handcuffs on him. So the one cop decided to walk away from the situation, and Almir was telling him, he was saying all kinds of stuff like, I want to die, I just want to die, I just want to kill myself, all kinds of little stuff. The little white female cop is saying, well, we don't want you to die, but you can't act like this. And then the black cop like, no, you going to jail, dude, you going to jail. Almir's like, I don't want to go to jail. And he's like, well, I could show you better than I could tell you, player. I'm like, was that professional? Yeah. Is that how you're supposed to handle this autistic young man who he really doesn't know what's going on right now? He need help.
Do the officers know his medical condition?
Let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you, I guarantee I'll put money on it. Every first responder in Fayette County, in Fayetteville, Georgia, in 2021 knew Almir Harris.
Gotcha.
Every last one of them. They've been to our house so many times. They encountered him out in the public so many times. Okay. They knew Almir.
Yeah.
They knew him so well that he had, when we moved, we had moved to Fairburn. I want to say that was in 2021. We moved from 2021 to 2022. We were in Fairburn. And when he got out of prison, he had a diabetic episode and needed to go to the hospital. And when one of the paramedics came in the house, he pulled me to the side and said, is his name Almir? I said, yes. He said, you used to live in Fayetteville? I said, yes. He said, I can't believe. He said, this is the same young man. I recognized him. Wow. They all knew him. I promise you. So they knew good and well that he suffered with mental illness on top of his diabetes.
Okay.
But this was 2021. He was arrested. They never took him to the hospital. They took him straight to Fayette County Jail. And so, and I got to bring you up to speed too, because, and I haven't told this much of this story before. The very next day, I get a phone call from the female officer that was at our home that day, telling me that myself and my husband needed to turn ourselves in.
What?
And I said, turn ourselves in for what? She said, well, when we watched the videotape that your husband showed us of what was going on with your son, your chest touched him, and that's battery.
Are you serious?
I'm more serious than a heart attack. And they said your husband videotaped it, and that's a crime. So we both had to turn ourselves in at Fayette County Jail and spend the night in jail and bond each other out and hire an attorney and go to court for some. I'm trying to keep my language right. Charges,
right.
You know, that it was ridiculous. And that case has since been dead docketed. And I said I'm going to go and have them close it because it's been dead docketed for over a year.
Right.
Because it was BS, and it was BS from the door.
Right.
Yeah, that was all about ego. That was all about ego with those cops. So from there, Amir ended up spending a year in Fayette County Jail. They never let me know when he had court because they claimed he was grown and they didn't have to tell his mommy nothing.
Right.
So I didn't even know when he went to court. I found out after he went to court that they just slapped him with so many felonies and then decided that he was supposed to serve 10 years was his sentence. And then he got 2 years with time served is what they offer him.
Wait, and I hate to interrupt. Okay, so all of this because of an incident that Amir had in your living room?
Yep, at home.
Okay, so then when they're coming to him with these offers and, you know, these sentences, is there an attorney who's helping him make the decisions to because did he plea out?
He accepted the offer from the DA for 2 years with time served. He accepted the offer. It wasn't a plea.
Yes, but then again, though, we're dealing with an individual.
He had an attorney.
Okay.
He had a retained attorney. Let me be clear. It wasn't a court appointed. He had a retained attorney.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I still think, and these are all the things, I know we're going to get into that at another time, but these are all the things I'm saying, how these people do not understand how to handle autistic people.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they mishandled him because why would you, even as the attorney, tell him to say yes to this? He doesn't know, but he figures if he says yes, what you want him to say, he going to get to go home.
He going to come home. Yeah.
That's what he's thinking.
Yeah.
He's not thinking you can send him to prison. So he sat in Fayette County Jail for a year. They refused to allow me to see my son or speak to him for an entire year.
Why? Because of that, the charge? I mean, because
it was no. I thought it was. I thought it was because they arrested me. You know, I thought that's why. But when I went to court, I asked the judge, was there an order of protection on the record because I was not being allowed to see my son? And the judge looked at the case and said, there's no order of protection here. And they said, so who's not letting you see your son? I said, the jail won't let me see my son.
Wow.
So when I called and talked to the captain at the jail, I asked him, what is the reason why you're not allowing my son to call me? I can't come visit him. We can't have a video visitation or anything. He had the audacity to tell me, oh, we're not letting you see him because you're his trigger.
What?
That's what he said to me. And he said that just a couple of days before he said he would love to be able to interview me so that he could get some content for his thesis, for his PhD.
And am I allowed to ask, are we saying his name or are we waiting? We're not saying his name. I don't want you to get into that. I know you got stuff going on. So
yeah, I'm not sure. And actually, I gotta recall his name because there's been so many of these doggone people that with their corrupt selves that I've been trying to keep all these names together. I gotta remember his name specifically.
Yeah.
But I know it's in my phone. I gotta find it.
Okay.
Yeah, but so after he served a year in Fayette County, he went to court. No, he didn't go to court. They finally got him a place. So he went first to Jackson State Prison, which is the diagnostics, right? And then after that, they sent my baby to Valdosta.
Valdosta?
They sent him to Valdosta State Prison. And the day he got there, he got on the phone and an inmate came over to him and said, that's your mom? Let me talk to your moms. So he got on the phone. He said, ma'am, he said, I don't know nothing about your son. He just got here, but I'm telling you, you need to call up here and you need to raise hell to get him out of here. He said, Ms. Valdosta is the #1 prison in the state of Georgia for murders and stabbings, and he not going to make it in here. He said, I don't know what's wrong with him, but I could tell he different. So you need to call up here. So I hung up, and then I called, and I got a hold of his counselor. And as soon as she heard my name and his name, she said, man, we working on it. We already know he ain't supposed to be here. We're going to get him shipped out. So they sent him from Valdosta State Prison to Phillips State Prison, where he served a year.
Hold up, because Phillips State Prison ain't no better than Valdosta State Prison.
Right. Right. But he served a year, and I'm so grateful that he survived in there for a year.
Now, did he have any incidents while he was at Phillips State Prison?
He was sexually assaulted. He was physically assaulted. He was constantly being targeted, taken advantage of as far as money and things of that nature. So I had to make the heartbreaking decision to stop sending my son any money, because every time I send him money with the hopes that he just going to go get his store and he going to have it and enjoy it for himself, somebody just, he go to the store, get the bag on his way back to his cell. Somebody just sucker punch him and take it. And it was breaking my heart. I mean, he asked me to send him some packages, and I really didn't want to do it. But I broke down. I said it was Christmas time, and I said, okay. He asked for, sneakers and underwear, undershirts, and all the clothing package, and then a food and snack package. The 2 packages together cost me $300. He didn't have them for 25 minutes. It was just breaking my heart. And I was like, I can't keep doing this, and it's hurt me, because I don't want him to feel like I abandoned him, or that I don't care, or that I'm not trying to help him or be supportive. But, in his mind, I'm sure that's probably what he was thinking.
He was never housed with other people who had mental disabilities. He was just...
Well, that's what they claim, is that Phillips State Prison is the mental health prison. That's what they claim. But, and I use the analogy that it's like if you have one inmate committed a murder, slaughtered a bunch of people, and you have somebody that might have gotten into an altercation with their girlfriend and punched in her face and blacked her eye, and now he got a domestic violence charge. They're all considered criminal, violent criminal offenders. So they're going to put them all together. It don't matter what level of a violent criminal you are, you're classified as a violent criminal. And they had Almir classified as a violent criminal.
Right.
So they threw him in the bullpen with everybody else. And he did not belong there at all, ever.
So after he serves his time at Phillips,
he came out February 1st, 2023. Them first couple of weeks were unbelievably blissful. I think some of it was still a shock to his system, being institutionalized like that. Even though he was only there for 2 years, he was struggling with a lot of stuff, and I had to really help him kind of find his way back. But it's like, as soon as he woke up out of that trance, all hell broke loose.
Let me ask you this, because I don't want to move past, because he's had trauma to take place in these facilities.
Exactly.
He's been sexually assaulted. Did you guys have did you have a discussion about this? Like, how did this affect him?
He wouldn't talk about it. But as a mom, you kind of know your kids. And I remember sitting with him one day, and I couldn't help myself. I just started crying. And I said, baby, I know you done been through some stuff that you probably don't want to talk about with your mom, but you should talk about it with somebody at some point, because you got to let it out. And I'm so sorry it happened, because he knew some of the stuff I knew it happened. But when it happened, I'm like, okay, so isn't that inmate supposed to get new charges? And he said, well, when he went to try to write the report about it, when he went to talk to the counselor about it, she told him, or your family would have to retain a lawyer in order for you to press charges against the other inmate. That's what he was told. And then when he was supposed to write the report, anytime he went to write a report, he would get beat up, especially when the people stole his 2 packages and he was trying to write the report he had to write. Somebody took a handle off of the mop and broke his hand. His hand was broke for a month and a half before he came home. Because when I took him to the emergency room, I didn't know it. He told me that when he got home, and then the next day I took him to the emergency room, and they said his hand was still broke. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he went through a lot. I mean, it was too much, honestly. He went through a lot.
Okay. So how long is he home before it hits the fan again? Or
I'm gonna say it started initially with just the his diabetes care stuff. So some parts of Almir love attention. And sometimes it really depends on what mood he's in as to what kind of attention he wants. Sometimes he just wants medical attention.
Okay.
Other times he want family attention or whatever the case is. But from February 1st until he got arrested in June, Almir had been admitted, not taken to, admitted to the hospital a minimum of 25 times. Of those 25 admissions to the hospital, 19 of them were in intensive care.
Okay.
Of those 19, 3 of them were on life support.
Wow.
And it just comes down to, him not being able to manage his diabetes on his own, which is why I kept him home with me because, as long as I manage him and I put things on a schedule with him, you got to do the same thing the same way every time, right, the same day, all of that. So as long as I was doing that, he was good. But then he would just have those manic episodes, or he would have his, those depressed, the bipolar stuff would kick in. So he either real high manic or real low depressed.
What does high manic mean? What does that mean?
Okay, so the manic episodes for bipolar is when, and I'm sure you've encountered, if he's ever been upset, he start talking real fast. It's called skipping, STIPPING.
Okay.
When they do that, they start speed talking, like it's be so fast you could barely even understand what he's saying. Or he'll start pacing. He'll start banging things. They'll start yelling. It's just like they get really out of control. It's like they escalate on their own. And if you don't work to bring them back down, it'll get out of control.
Right.
Yeah. So, that's why I say he had those. Now, when he be real, that low depression, that's when, I can't get out the bed. I don't feel like getting up. I'm just going to lay here. I don't want to go to school today. I don't want anybody bother me. I don't want to eat. I don't want to take my medication. It's either, you had one end of the spectrum or the other. There was no in between.
Okay.
There's no in between. So with the bipolar stuff, that's one thing. But then the autism is a whole nother thing. And when you couple the two together, it's like, so now you got this hypersensitive autistic person having a manic high. He's having a manic episode and he's autistic. So it's like, yeah, it's a different type of animal right there. It is. Because there's a lot going on and he couldn't maneuver it, he couldn't manage it. And I used to try to tell him that, it's like, baby, as long as you take your meds, and you eat what you're supposed to eat and we get some water. I mean, Almir has gone off and like tore stuff up in the house because I always try to prepare healthy snacks for my family. So, I mean, for him, especially being diabetic, he was good. Like, he loved it. If I made him a veggie tray, he can have carrots and celery, some blanched broccoli, cucumber sticks, all that, ranch dressing. He would love that kind of snacks and stuff.
Right.
But I remember one day in particular, he decided, I don't want this. I want a chicken leg. I'm like, I mean, you are not getting chicken leg for a snack now. That's not snack. That's goes with your meal. So put that back and let's have a snack. Now, if you don't want the veggie tray, Mom can get you some olives because he loves olives, all that kind of stuff. I'll get you some olives and some cheeses and some salami or whatever and make you a little tray out of that. No, I don't want that. I want a fried chicken leg. I was like, okay, all right, this great turn into something. And it's like sometimes I had to pick and choose my battles, but at the same time, I still had to parent him to teach him boundaries, because if I just let him have whatever he wanted all the time, that would have created a whole different monster.
Right.
So yeah, it was it was just a lot. That was a lot.
Okay.
But when he, like I said, when he came home in 2023, we were in the process of moving. We knew we were moving when he came home, because he came home February and we moved the next month. So we moved. I ain't gonna say unfortunately. We moved to Decatur.
Okay.
And
I
one
live
night,
in Decatur, man. Don't do that. I live in Decatur.
right,
Don't do
I do
that.
too, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So he disappeared one night, and it was driving me crazy, because you kind of in the space of he's grown, but that's really a 12-year-old boy in a 23-year-old man's body.
No fact, because what I'm telling you is that when he was in defense custody and I was there, Amir was still peeing in the bed.
Yeah, he was. Now, and let me explain that. That's diabetes. People don't understand. The word diabetes transfers into excessive urination. That's what diabetes means. And so he was still wet in the bed even at 23 years old. But he couldn't help it. So I used to do all kinds of stuff to try to help him maintain some dignity about himself. And I would tell him, it's not a problem, baby. I mean, it's going to happen. You can't control it.
So, but what I think, if he's going, I can only imagine if he's at Phillips State Prison and he pee on himself.
Yep.
You is lunch meat. You are these.
Yep. And he was dealing with a lot of that. Because I knew, even when he tell me, I mean, it was sometimes he would tell me and I almost believed him, because he'd be like, Mom, I'm not wetting myself at night. I get up and use the toilet. I get up. I'm like, okay, but the other thing that I recognize is they weren't giving him ample water anyway. So he might not have been wetting himself like that at the prison. They weren't giving him enough water.
Yeah, but you have access to water though.
No. No, I'm being totally transparent right now for anybody that's listening. I tell people all the time, don't judge me and don't check my damn credit. I've been in jail, okay? They do not give you enough water.
No.
They do not.
No, what I'm saying is, okay, so I don't know if he got to drink a special kind of water, but he's got access to a sink or...
See, what you got to remember is most of these prisons that Almir been in, Almir has been homeless inside of the prisons. He almost never had a cell, an assigned cell, almost never.
So hold on. So are you saying that Almir is in the day room?
Yeah.
So he don't even have his own toilet.
No.
See, that's where it gets weird, because that's illegal. That means it's overpopulated.
Yep.
And you're housing humans in places that they're not supposed. I just saw a clip like this on Instagram.
Oh, yes. I was wondering how some nights Almir would call me. It'd be 10:30, 11 o'clock. I'm like, what you doing on the phone?
Are you supposed to be locked down?
Right, but he was in that day room and he'd be like, Mama, I ain't got nowhere to sleep tonight. I don't have nowhere to lay down. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, Mommy, I don't have an assigned cell. And the other inmates don't want me to come in their cell, so I'm out here by the telephone. So I would talk to him and I would let him keep call back, until he get tired enough. And I'm like, baby, I know it's cold, and I know the floor is hard, but just go ahead and lay yourself down and try to get some rest.
Where is your mind when all this is going on? Because this is your baby. And
let me tell you something. I know one time, and I have replayed that conversation back in my head so many times, and it has made me cry. And I cry out to my son's spirit. I'm sorry. It was a day he called me and I couldn't handle it. I mean, he was just telling me, somebody had just beat him up and I had just got him to calm down about that. And then he called me back telling me he didn't have nowhere to sleep that night. And I popped off and I was like, baby, please stop calling me, telling me this stuff. Mommy can't handle hearing all of this. And I just broke down crying. But I feel bad because I feel like maybe he felt like I was pushing him away and he didn't do nothing wrong. But it hurt me knowing that I said it to him. That I was worrying about how I felt and not considering how he must have felt in that moment. Yeah, it's been rough. I promise you. A lot of the phone calls have been rough because I had to really work on my own self from that incident, especially, and remind myself this ain't about me. And when he's calling, he's reaching out here for some sense of help, comfort, normalcy, familiarity, solace, refuge, mental refuge. I had to remind myself. So I finally got to a point of when he would call and he was upset, I would try to change the subject, and talk about something happy. Like we had just got we got a new puppy last year, so he would like to talk about the OG, and he would ask questions about what's the dog doing, what the puppy doing. If I could just get his mind off of what he was going through for a couple of minutes, to me it felt better. To him, it felt better. Because it was just a couple of minutes where he wasn't worrying about what was going on around him. And it's hard. That's why I said this is rough. It's rough. And I know, we're as a family, we're all still having our moments of just reflection and recall of the phone call and what was said and what we were told, and then the visualizations that we all have.
Yeah.
It's hard dealing with.
Okay, so how does he end up going back?
So it's so funny you brought that up because I was in my old phone today looking up some stuff now, and actually it was funny because my phone helped me remember the real story. Okay. When he got released, we were originally told he was supposed to report in Gwinnett County for probation.
Because he's on probation for how long?
He was supposed to be on probation for 7 years.
Okay.
I tried telling people when they gave him that 10-year sentence, he ain't gonna make it. He ain't gonna make no probation for no 10 years. He ain't gonna make it for 10 minutes. I don't know what y'all thinking. But so 7 years now, I, as his mom, am responsible for my son. I don't care how old he was.
Right.
When he got out, I don't care. That's my baby. He can't do a lot of stuff for himself. So I was doing it for him. I'm the one that reached out to the probation officer, and I let him know that I am blind. I do not drive. So it's going to be my responsibility to get him where he's going because Amir doesn't know how to maneuver like public transportation, and he doesn't drive any of that. So I would have to get him to his appointments.
How long have you been without sight?
I started losing my eyesight in 2010, which was not long after I moved to Atlanta. I had completely lost my eyesight in 2016 after a little stay over in West Africa for a little while. I had an encounter with a priestess, and lo and behold, I can see a little teeny bit. Okay. Yeah, it's better than what I had before, but it's not anything anybody would want. I promise you that. Right. But so after talking to the Gwinnett County probation office, he said, okay, so I'm going to transfer his case down to Atlanta, and you could take him to Atlanta to report. So he sent me the information, and I took Almir to go report in Atlanta. Well, the Atlanta officer, and I could say these names. Okay. So Officer Griffin in the Atlanta office didn't seem too attached to his job at all. I'll say that. I was told that because Almir was special needs, that they had a different type of program. We had to come and do an orientation. They would let me know, when he was supposed to report or how he was supposed to report and what types of activities he would have to do as a payment, as his payments, because the special needs so-called offenders don't have to make those payments that you make when you be on probation. Right. They have to do other stuff, like you could donate dog food or it was some other little goofy stuff they said he could do. But I kept calling this man because he never told me, he never gave me no information about orientation, when is Almir supposed to come back down here? When are you supposed to come to the house? Check on him, nothing. So eventually, he ended up telling me he was going to transfer Almir's case back to the county of origination, which would be Fayette County.
Okay.
So now, and I had to look up these names because there was too many of them. So he tells me to contact this assistant chief. I call this assistant chief. This assistant chief gets on the phone and tells me, "Oh, ma'am, I just had a heart attack. I'm not even back to work yet. So call assistant chief so-and-so." All right. I call assistant chief so-and-so. It's a lady. And she's telling me, "Oh, you need to call, my favorite, assistant chief Lovelady." So I reached out. I called Mr. Lovelady's phone. I immediately got a text back that said, "Text me." I said, "Okay." So I'm being the responsible mom, trying to help my son do what he's supposed to do. I sent him a text message with Almir's full name, date of birth, his GD, CID number, his discharge date from Phillips State Prison, his original probation officer, Gwinnett County, name, phone number. I gave him our current address because, like I said, when he was released, we lived one place, we moved. So I made sure he knew where we were at. Almir did not at the time have a cell phone, so I gave him my cell phone number. I texted him a couple of times after that, and if you look at my phone with the text message feed, you will see he never responded.
Okay.
So I'm reaching out to Officer Griffin because I can't get the people that you say is supposed to be watching him in Fayette County to respond. So I'm asking you for some assistance over here and about getting him seen. Nobody never did anything. And the next thing I know, he was home from February 1st. June 6th, he was outside my apartment, and I forget what was going on. I think he was mad at me because I had turned his phone off because of some behavior he was having, and I told him it wasn't appropriate behavior. So until you stop doing it, I'm not going to turn your phone back on. And he called the police on me.
Okay.
And unfortunately, when the police came, they got his ID from him. They ran it, and he had a warrant for probation violation because they're saying he never reported, which is not true. They lied on him.
So they done violated his probation, and
they took back 4 years of his probation.
Damn.
But they lied on him, and I have proof that they lied on him. He didn't violate his probation.
They don't
and
care.
I say that my son dead because these people lied. If they hadn't lied on him, he probably would not have ever been in jail. But they lied on him. They said that he violated his probation. How can he violate the probation if y'all not giving me the information as to where to bring him? And then Assistant Chief Lovelady had the audacity to say to me, he still has to be responsible to some degree. Okay, he is being responsible because if his mother tell him to get his behind up and get bathed and dressed so we can go to your probation office, that's what the hell he gonna do. But
right.
If you ain't told his mama where to bring him and when to bring him, how is he supposed to do that? They lied on him.
So when they violated his probation, he goes back to prison. What prison does he go to?
Of course, he went back to diagnostics at Jackson first. And after Jackson, they sent him to Central State Prison. Now, he was at Central for, I want to say he was there for maybe 4 or 5 months, something like that. And I found out by talking to, I think he said that was his counselor, not a mental health counselor. She was just the dorm manager or something.
Right. Yeah.
And I asked her because he kept having these episodes, and I always knew when he was having manic episodes because Almir would call me on the phone, and when he started talking real fast, I'm like, okay, he have an episode. He ready to turn all the way up. And I asked him, I'm like, how many of his psych meds are y'all giving him? And this lady actually said to me, he don't get no psych meds.
Wait a minute. So Almir is not taking his meds?
They were not giving him any psych medication at Central State Prison. And 2 days after that lady said that to me, they shipped him out to Baldwin State Prison.
What's going on at Baldwin? Is this a medical? Why is he being shipped to Baldwin?
Probably because I found out that they were not giving him his medication at Central State Prison. I promise you, I talked to that lady, and 2 days later, Almir called me and said, Mama, they moved me. I'm at Baldwin State Prison.
Now, when he gets to Baldwin State Prison, are they making sure that he take his meds?
Well, he's not responsible for taking them himself. He has to go to medical and they have to give them to him.
Right.
So it was my understanding when he first got there, because I would always ask him, that was a regular question during our phone calls. Did you have your meds today?
Okay.
I always ask, did you have your meds today?
Right.
And he would, for the most part, he'd tell me yes. So, because, and the other thing is like the pills, I could see if he turned down some pills, but Almir's not going to turn down no insulin because he knows what that does to him.
He's got to have it. Yeah.
Yeah, he don't like to be sick like that. He knows what that does to him. So that's a whole nother story right there, because I found out the investigator that called me on New Year's Eve was trying to tell me that he found about, what did he say, about 28 or so slips in Almir's jacket where he was refusing his medication. And I said, oh, I would love to see those. I said, so is these some kind of slips that he would have to actually fill out and sign? He said, yes. I said, okay, yeah, I want to see those, because you know Almir couldn't write.
Yeah, I knew him when he was a teenager, and
Yeah,
he could not write.
He wrote then,
he couldn't write.
He write the same way.
So that's why, like, when you were saying that he had to write a statement in reference to somebody doing sexually violent, I couldn't fathom it in my mind. And then now I have so many questions, because when he was at this, was he still, because he's gone home and came back, does he have his own cell, or is he in a...
I think at some point when he first got there, I think they had him in like the infirmary or something.
Okay.
So he was being housed there for a little while. And then eventually they put him in general population. And I think he told me that he had a cellmate at one point, but then he wasn't supposed to have a cellmate anymore. And they kept moving him around inside the prison. And eventually it just got to the point that he didn't have an assigned cell. And he hadn't had an assigned cell in most of the time that he'd been there.
Okay, so another question. Have you ever had a situation where Almir's home and he does not want to take his meds?
Yes.
How does that usually unfold?
Well, it wouldn't be the insulin.
Okay.
It would be his psych meds. Like, he'd be like, I don't want to take these. I'm not taking these pills. I don't like how they make me feel and stuff.
Right.
And, we would talk to him, be like, Amir, you got to take them. So I would end up bribing him and be like, okay, look, if you take your pills, I'll let you have some cookies.
Okay. You negotiate.
Like, I would give him treats, but I would have to give him extra insulin to accommodate the treat.
Right.
But, because he didn't get cookies and stuff like that all the time, that was a big deal for him. He's like, I'll eat a cookie. Yeah, I'm going to take the pills.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he's at Baldwin State now. How long is he there before you start to get worried about what's going on? Like, what red flags are shown?
I was worried from the beginning at Baldwin.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because, he would call me. I mean, that's a hard thing. You have a child with special needs, and I'm saying child, even though he's a young man. That's still my child.
Right.
And you have a child with special needs calling you, telling you, Mom, this man just walked up to me and punched me in my face for no reason. And I'm like, well, Amir, why would they do that to you? I said, maybe, were you looking at the person? Did you say something? I was trying to help him. And like, baby, these people are not your friends. So, don't try to get buddy. You need to feel like, you belong somewhere. You call home. That's what you do. Don't keep messing
not
with
prison material. He was not cut out for prison.
He was not. Amir couldn't fight.
He could not fight.
No, he couldn't fight.
He could not.
He still, to this day, and we used to try to teach him how to hold his hands and stuff, but he ain't built like that.
He wasn't built like that. He just wasn't. I've dealt with him. I've been to prison, and I have worked for defects. Almir was not supposed to go to prison. I don't know how that took place. He was not prepared. Like anybody.
Them cops lied on him, and they slapped him with all these charges. He had all these felonies, all this obstruction of an officer, assault on an officer. I'm like, he didn't do nothing to you. Y'all got body cameras.
Yeah.
It was dog pile on top of Almir on top of my damn sofa. What are you talking about? They lied. They lied on him. And they got it to the point that the DA decided that he was going to sentence him, especially with that assault charge. And you know that's a 10-year minimum in Georgia. And that's what they gave him. They set him up to fail.
Yeah.
They knew he wasn't supposed to. I have a letter. I got to see if I can find it because I done moved and I know my papers and stuff is kind of all over. But I had a letter from a psychiatrist who was his provider at the time that he got arrested. And she wrote a letter to the court explaining to the court her involvement with Almir as his psychiatrist.
Mm-hmm.
And she clearly told them he did not belong in the penal system. And they ignored it. They ignored it and sentenced him to 10 years in prison.
So how long does Almir stay at Baldwin?
Now, I got to remember exactly when he moved, because I want to say he got moved to Baldwin in the spring. Was it in the spring? I want to say it was maybe like in April. Wait. I'm forgetting he was at 3 different institutions. Hold on. So he left Jackson. They sent him to Central. He was at Central probably, June. He didn't leave Jackson until the end of 23. So he went to Central the beginning of 24. I want to say it was the spring, maybe like April or May, somewhere around in there that he ended up at Baldwin.
Okay.
So he was there basically 8 months.
Do you remember the last time you talked to him?
Yes.
How did that conversation go?
Oh, goodness. So I talked to Almir. I talked to Almir on Saturday. What was that? Like the 27th, I think. I forget, of December. That Saturday before New Year's. I talked to him and it was fine. I mean, he seemed to be okay. He said he still hadn't had any medication, meaning his insulin. He had told me that he still wasn't feeling too good. But he asked me, he said, Mama, I know why you told me you won't send me no money, but could you please just send me a little some money so I can get some hygiene products and some snacks because I'm hungry? And I said, all right, baby, I'm going to send you some money, I promise. I'm going to send it tomorrow. And he said, okay. He lit right up, like a little kid. He lit up like, okay, Mama, yay. He said, you want me to call on Wednesday? Because that was our normal days, was Wednesdays and Saturdays. Mm-hmm. And I said, no, baby, you can call on Tuesday because it's New Year's Eve. And that way you get to talk to everybody and everything. Right. Plus you can let me know that you went and got your stuff from the store.
Right.
And he said, okay, Mama. And, we both said that I love you. He blew me kisses as he always did over the phone. And we got off the phone. So I'm expecting to hear from him on Tuesday, which was New Year's Eve.
Right.
But my baby never called because he died.
How did you get the news that he had passed away?
So, what's his name? Deputy Warden Farmer called. He called me, but he wasn't calling me. I have 2 phones. The phone that I know they had the phone number to is the one that was attached to Almir's jail account for him to call home. Mm-hmm. I had since got another phone, but they didn't have his phone number. So I'm in my kitchen. It's New Year's Eve. I'm old school. It's certain things women got to do in the house. House got to be clean, spotless. Get all the food ready. And then you kick back and relax and enjoy the day till the New Year's come in. So I'm just finishing up cooking, and I was about to come and get dressed and just go get myself a drink and chill out and just wait. I'm still waiting on him to call, so I'm making sure I got all the phones around me, right, so I don't miss the call. And I'm in the kitchen. I think I was finishing up one of the side dishes or something, and my phone kept ringing, but when I was looking at it, I didn't recognize the number, so I didn't answer it. And it kept ringing like back to back to back. It rang 5 times. Well, 4 times was the same phone number.
Okay.
So something in my stomach said, check your voicemail. So I checked the voicemail, and it's him saying, Miss Harris. He don't know my name. He said, Miss Harris, could you give me a call back, please? So of course I immediately called back.
Okay.
It's like, is my son okay? That's the first thing on my mouth. I didn't say hi or nothing else. Is my son all right? He didn't respond. I said, is my son okay? He didn't respond. I said it 2 more times, and he didn't respond. So the 5th time I said it, it was full of profanity for me asking him, was my son okay? And his response was, no, ma'am.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah. So then he proceeds to, through my silence, he was trying to find an opening in my silence to say something.
That's deep. An opening in your silence.
Yes, he tried to find opening in my silence to say anything. And he proceeds to tell me that they found him at 1:33 a.m. on December 31st in the day room. He explained to me that the day room is where the TV and the telephones is at. That's where all the inmates watch
He
TV.
did not have his own personal cell.
He did not. He did not. He was sitting in a chair, as he described it to me, slumped over backwards. He said they found him at 1:33 a.m. He was pronounced dead at 2 a.m. and the coroner has his body.
What's the cause of death?
I know what it is, but we don't have an official cause of death. We don't have a death certificate yet either.
Wait a minute. Because I thought you said our mayor passed away at 1:30 December 31st. Because right now it's February. It's February the 14th, 2025. And what it sounds like you're saying is you don't have a death certificate for our mayor?
Correct.
I'm confused. I'm so confused.
I am too. I am too. It sounds a little shady to me. I don't know why it would take that long. I do understand sometimes toxicology may take a little longer than the actual autopsy report. But
2 months?
Yeah, right. Right.
So the Georgia Department of Corrections is notorious for prolonging, for not answering, for issuing these generalized statements,
right,
where they do not take responsibility and they don't understand nothing but hitting them in the pocketbook. That's all they understand. And the fact that the death certificate has still not been issued. When was the last time you heard from anybody?
The only communication I really had with anybody about the death certificate has been with the funeral home that I selected to provide his services. But as far as like the coroner's office or anybody that's involved with the GBI, ain't nobody reached out to me to tell me nothing.
And they're reporting that he was found unalive at 1:30, but we don't know how long he was sitting there.
Well, I did get some inside info from a couple other people in there. And I was told that they had been trying to alert the guards before lockdown. So they couldn't pinpoint the exact time. But they said lockdown happened at 6. So it was before 6 o'clock. And they said at least, we'll say an hour, we were trying to get them to come and get him because he was real sick. And nobody was responding. They said they wasn't coming in there because he was playing around, is what they said. He was playing around. And so in my mind, my son may have sat in that chair and died at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And they didn't even consider him even after his death until 1:33 in the morning.
That is wild.
Yeah, my family has sought legal counsel. And like I said, we have to wait until we have a death certificate before the counsel is going to come on board. But I'm very hopeful that he's going to be able to subpoena body cam footage, the film from the day room cameras, because everybody know the day room is where all the fights break out. They got cameras. I want to know how long my son was sitting in that chair.
They'll lose footage. They'll lose it.
Oh, I'm sure, but I ain't even worried about it because I already got the information.
So what can we do to help? Like, what I know you got to go through the legal ramifications of everything, but to the public, to taxpaying citizens, to people who believe that humans ought to be treated like humans, what can we do?
I am presently looking for support in initiating the Almir Harris Inmate Medical Accountability Act into legislation.
Okay.
I have a change.org petition that is definitely located on my Facebook page, but I'm sure we can get it up on your page for your listeners.
Because I'm gonna put your Facebook. What's your name on Facebook?
Monique, Monique.
Q-U-E. So and Monique, last name?
Monge, Monge.
On Facebook. So I'm putting your name up there for Facebook, and I'm gonna put hashtag justice for
So we have all of the hashtags are there that have been promoting, especially the petition that's going around right now. So we have hashtag Almir Harris, hashtag Justice for Almir. What are the other ones? Justice for Almir, say his name, autism awareness, and end medical neglect.
Your last name is Monge, right?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure. But you know what? I won't say this the same way I said it a while back. This is not just Almir, the wrongful death of Almir.
No, it's not. And that's why I'm starting this fight, because I can't do nothing else to save my baby. They already stole him from me.
Right.
You know, but I could do something to help another family.
Exactly.
You know, somebody sent me a text yesterday, right here where we live at, DeKalb County. An inmate died over there in DeKalb County jail.
I promise you, but the reason I did not call you back, I was doing a story on that young man. They say tonight at 10, they're going to release the footage on Fox 5.
Wow. Yeah, but I've been getting these stories. People been sending them to me left and right. I'm like, it's not, this wasn't something that just happened to Almir. It's been happening for years.
It's an epidemic.
I think it's unfortunate, you know, and the craziness is, Dana, I had told my husband, you know, sometimes when you want something so bad, people believe different things, but I believe in the universe.
Okay.
The universe will work to give it to you if you really want it bad enough. And I had to check myself, because I remember, and it's been so many nights since he's been incarcerated, that I laid in this bed and bawled my eyes out just thinking about what he was going through. And I just wanted so bad. And I said, I don't want him to be in there no more. I want him to be free of that place. And the universe gave it to me. This ain't how I wanted it, but he's free. He's free from that place. He's free from his illnesses. He's free from diabetes. He's free now.
Right.
I don't want other people to have to free their family members like that. I want other people to be able to have a coming home party for their family members.
Right.
So if it's anything that I can do to help another family, if I can, even while I'm grieving right now, if I can lend my strength to another mother whose son's still alive behind that wall, I'm going to do it. I have to.
Well, you know this, but I'm going to still say it again. However, I can be of assistance. We fighting the same fight, because
Yeah.
I've done time in prison, and I done dedicated my life to try to help other people stay out, and it's not just on social media. It's what I do
Right.
for a living. It's how I pay my bills. I just left Miller Grove High School yesterday, then went to James P. Brawlin that last night. I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing something else tomorrow. I'm gonna die in the field. I'm gonna do this. When I get to where I'm going, my ancestors are gonna be thankful, but I'm gonna be obedient. Our mirror
No,
story
okay.
is it's close to me because I knew him and I talked to
Mm-hmm.
him, and
Absolutely.
he changed my life for the better.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Whatever, however, I don't care what. If we got to pick up trash outside, I don't. It don't matter what it is. My phone is on. You know this.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever I
Mm-hmm.
need to do. As a matter of fact, we need to have. I need you on this live, this page and any other page that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Once a week. If I could just get you
Okay.
to just update us so people can,
Absolutely.
because I don't think that people can get involved unless they know what's going on. And it's just like a
Absolutely.
commercial. It's like we've been wearing Nike since we was children. But every now
Right.
and again, you'll see a Nike commercial. Amir
Yep.
did not die in vain. We're not gonna let him die in vain. Not just by how
Absolutely not.
we treat other people, but it's people out there that have son. Somebody knows somebody that got diabetes. Somebody
Yes.
knows somebody that has autism. This is a
Yes.
crime against all those populations of people, man. He never should have been in the
Absolutely.
system. Period. He had no
Absolutely.
business being there. He wasn't cut like that. The,
Absolutely.
the system is failing us daily.
I think
Somebody,
they just taking advantage of them because I wrote I speak from the shadows. And if any of your listeners have not yet read it, the poem is on Facebook. I think you did. It is on your page. I think.
yep. What's the name of it?
I speak from the shadows.
I speak from the shadow. Is that the one that was read at the funeral?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I remember that one. That was deep. I speak from the
Yeah.
shadows.
Yeah. I wrote that on my son's behalf because, and a lot of people have called me and said that it broke them down and made them cry, and I said that's what I wanted it to. I need people to feel this thing because it's real, and not only are they medically neglecting these people, I believe that these wardens at these prisons they're putting prisoners in certain situations where they're losing their lives because they collecting insurance money on these people. And then they turn around and steal the bodies from the families. The families can't even have their loved one's body. I'm grateful that I was able to get Almir's.
A lot of people don't have that though. A lot of them are not getting those bodies back.
Yeah, I was just learning that. I mean, I've been down this rabbit hole, since I've been thrown into this community. This is not any place I'd ever been before. Being engaged in so many different prison groups online, prison moms, and especially the mothers of sons taken to. So I have not been in this space before. So I've been down that rabbit hole on the internet, and I've been learning that, so many people had the same story as Almir. Circumstances may be a little different here and there, but it's the same story.
Same outcome.
They are being treated less than animals.
Yeah.
Less than animals.
No, for real.
It's heartbreaking. I mean, and I promise you, and I say this, I joined a couple of autism groups, and I said, I want to be able to really reach out to those families because they have no idea the danger that awaits their kids.
Yep. We got to bring awareness to it. We got to get us some t-shirts. We got to get. However, look,
I'm working on it. I developed a little. It's a small handbook. My goal is to get it out to families because I promise you, me and my husband be in the supermarket and I see little kids like doing all kind of little stuff. Like they will literally just go the hell off in the store. And I look at him and be like, that baby autistic and his mama don't know it yet.
Mm.
I can spot them now. I mean, I could spot them from a mile away. So I made the handbook for families because my husband and I were blindsided by Almir's his diagnoses and his disorder. We didn't get a diagnosis on him until he was 14, and I implore all families, because I was pushing. That's how Almir even ended up in defects in the first place. I put him there. They didn't take my son from me. I put him there.
Wait. So Okay, please break that. So what you're saying is you didn't know that he had these disabilities
No,
or until he was 14 years old because he started
correct.
acting out.
All these behaviors, right? He was having the behaviors like he was just every day. I'm getting called to the school. You got to come get him. You got to come get him. He being disruptive. He was doing all. He was having those manic episodes, and so I called defects.
Do you have an IG? One of my people on here want to know. Are you on Instagram?
I am, but Miss Monique a little older. I don't really know how to work it.
Gotcha. Bro, you heard her, bro.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try though. I'm gonna try
We
start posting.
we gotta get an Instagram set up because a lot of people, that's how they gonna connect to you. So, bro, asking. She on Facebook, bro. I got her name up here. But we gonna get her Instagram, bro. We're gonna get her Instagram.
So I actually called defects and I said, hey, is there any way I could get connected with like a social worker, have a social worker assigned to my son so we can get some guidance and help us maneuver what's going on with him because we don't know what's going on with him and I don't really know how we go about finding that out. I've talked to teachers, I've talked to his pediatricians. Nobody can give me any answers, but I know something's wrong with my son.
Right.
So the lady at defect said, no, the only way you get a caseworker here is there has to be a deprivation of the child. Well, I know what that is.
What does deprivation of the child mean?
Well, it means that the parent did not provide appropriate parenting, supervision, food, clothing, or housing.
But he didn't have that going on, though.
He didn't, so I had to make it happen.
Okay.
I made the hard decision to involve them scam artists in my life.
Because you're just trying to get help with your son. That's what your goal is. Okay.
Exactly. So I took it and when he had another one of his mental crisis and Henry County came and they took him to the hospital, to the psych place.
Let me ask you this. Do you remember his first episode?
The first episode where we had to take him to the hospital for psych evaluation?
Right, yes.
I don't think I remember, but I promise you I probably have a video of it.
Okay.
I have an arsenal of videos of all of those behaviors.
Gotcha.
Nobody never wanted to watch them. I used to ask the psychiatrist, like, do you want to see what I'm talking about? He's like, no, I don't need to see it. Because they just wanted to push pills.
Yeah.
But so Henry County took him over to the hospital. And I sat down with my husband and the rest of the kids. And I said, listen, the only way I'm going to get him some help is I got to make some real tough choices right now as his mom. So when the hospital calls and they say, they're going to discharge him again because that's all they would ever do. They would take him to the hospital, but nothing would never happen. They never helped him. They would just discharge him again. So I said, when they discharge him, I'm not going to go get him. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to call defects. And that's how we're going to get him in there. And that's what I did. All to try to get him some help. And I will say this. Although my experience with defects overall was not good, the one thing that did happen that I felt helped my son was at one point, and I kept asking, aren't there psychiatric hospitals for adolescents or teens or young people in Georgia? Like, y'all don't have psychiatric facilities? They're like, no, there's nothing available. There's nothing like that available. Oh, because they got that real cushy place over there in Druid Hills called Laurel Heights.
Facts.
Yeah, and they managed to get my son in there. He was a resident there for 2 whole years. Yeah, but it was full of the other, the non-melanated children.
Yeah.
Non-melanated children. Filled it up. But
I was offered a job opportunity in one of those environments. And when I walked through, I was just like, I don't care where I go or what population of people that I deal with, I'm going to treat humans like humans. I was like, this is not my calling right here, though. It's somebody that is from.
It was like the sad thing was, even though it was called a psychiatric facility, it was a mini prison. I mean, they had all the same doors at the prison, the same barbed wire on top of the gates. You got to be buzzed in and buzzed out.
Yep.
You got to be searched when you come in there.
Yep.
It's a mini prison.
Yeah.
I started, not off topic completely, but I started writing an essay because I wanted to do a comparison between mass incarceration in the United States of America versus the transatlantic slave trade. and the return on investment from both businesses.
Because that's what it is. It's a business. You know what? I've done research, and I'll spare you all my details. But just this week, I started doing the math, and the Georgia get paid $30,000 to $40,000 a year
Yep.
for a human that's
Mm-hmm.
held captive in those cages.
Yep.
Okay, so at capacity, it's supposed to be 50,000, but if you have 20 or 30 people sleeping in the day room, you're over capacity. But let's just say it's 50,000 in the state of Georgia. That's $1.5 billion.
Absolutely. And that don't have nothing to do with the life insurance policies
Oh
that
my
they're taking
God,
out on these
it's
inmates.
crazy. So
Yeah.
that's the new slavery. This is the new slavery,
Exactly.
and I'm looking at how it is affecting the dehumanization of just people. Like they're treating humans less than animals. But the thing is that as much chaos, as many losses as we take as the public, it's going the way that they've designed it to go.
Absolutely.
If they wanted to stop it, they would stop it, because at one point in time you did not have these issues. Now,
right,
it's just get that money and go.
Absolutely. And I think the sad thing is, and I know I've had to have this tough conversation. I had this tough conversation with somebody online because they were saying, well, why should we as the public hear whether or not these inmates have medication and cell phones and television? It's prison. They're supposed to be being punished. And I said, but everybody that's in prison didn't murder anybody, rape anybody, rob anybody. My son never hurt nobody, and he's dead. Everybody that's in there ain't even guilty.
Even if they are guilty, this procedure that we pay for is supposed to help individuals come back home.
Right, they're supposed to be rehabilitated. There's no rehabilitation going on. None.
The state of Georgia has one of the highest percentages of recidivism in the southern eastern United States. They don't expect you to stay home no more than 18 months, and that's so it's designed that way. But here's the thing, it's a business. I just got not in hot water, but ridiculed a little bit because I was asked to speak at Emory Law School. This was last Saturday. And so the question was asked about, what an attorney should do after their client has come home and that attorney wants to help them stay out of trouble. And I was like, I don't know how long we're going to keep asking questions we don't want the answers to, or pretending, because here's the thing. Y'all in law school, not because you like how it sounds, it's job security. The United States got the highest prison population in the world, boo. Man, what you care about somebody? That's like asking me, a moonwalk man, what do I do with kids who don't want to jump on the moonwalk no more? Boy, stop. Right. You a lawyer. What you care about somebody staying out of trouble for? Stop. Don't ask me no stupid questions. Don't do that. So I got to learn when to hold my tongue, but at the same time, I ain't holding my tongue, man. The truth is the truth. And if we don't start operating from the truth, we're going to have people that keep falling to the wayside. I ain't come here for that. That ain't what's going on, man.
Call the thing the thing.
Hey, man. It's a thing. And I'm obligated. I'm obligated to help our mirror and people that look like our mirror and act like, because here's the thing. There was a point in time when somebody helped me, somebody helped you. Sister Martha was in the civil rights movement, getting hit by a water hose and bit by a dog. She ain't see that finish line. She didn't see that victory. She did that shit so we can do what we doing. I'm gonna die doing it. Period.
I know that's right. And I said, this is a new part of my life. And I mean, my family know me. Anything I take on, any project I take on, I go hard. And it's like I said, I'm fighting this like I'm trying to save our mirror, but I can't save them no more. I'm going to fight this fight like I'm trying to save them now, because I can't ever give up the fight.
Facts.
But I was telling you about that handbook. So my goal was to be able to send the handout, the handbook. I'm calling it a handout. To be able to get that handbook out there so that people have access to it. And it's not something I need to monetize. You know, I need to figure out a way to have it digitized and just be able to send it to people.
Right.
Just give it to people. Because I want to help. It's like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you got to pay me to help you. I want to help.
Right.
And if the stuff that I've written down and the examples that I give you in this handout help you de-escalate a situation with your loved one, then it's worth it to me.
Right.
It's worth it to me. So I started on this. So I think I remind you, Amir's birthday is March the 20th.
March 20th, yep.
And I think I'm starting to work on planning this rally. We're definitely going to have a little balloon release and a candlelight visual, but I'm going to have the rally to kick off the Almir Harris Inmate Medical Accountability Act campaign.
Do we have a location so I can start broadcasting it?
Well, I'm not sure yet. Okay. I was thinking about down there at the Gold Dome, or I don't know where we need to be or what would be a good location, because I don't know how big a crowd may get. Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar, so I got to figure it out. But if you have some suggestions, I'm open.
We'll talk, we'll figure, and I'll try to connect with some people that, you know, that's more of their specialty. Let me ask you this. Have you reached out to any mass media, Fox 5, Channel 11, Channel 2?
I have not. I know when I wrote the first letter back December the 10th, when I was just advocating for my son to try to make sure he was going to get his medication, I sent it. I actually faxed it all over the place, but I guess that didn't work, because the one email that I sent that got through was to Senator Warnock's office, and they responded immediately. So I said, I may need to reach out, or if somebody want to reach out on my behalf, I don't have a problem with it.
I think that we should actively reach out to every major news network in the city of Georgia, at least in the Atlanta metro area. It's a concerning subject, and I don't know how it get more worse than dying in the day room because you have not received your insulin.
Right.
It's ridiculous. He wasn't supposed to be in
the
day room.
And the thing was, it's like I told them, and you know, I talked to this lady, the warden up there, and I talked to the deputy warden, and I told him, I said, see, what I know for a fact is, he's not okay. If you're a type 1 diabetic and you've been taking your medication as you're supposed to, and you're getting ample water and nutritious food, you're going to be fine. You're going to be able to manage your diabetes. If you don't take your insulin tomorrow, you might not feel so hot, but you're going to be all right. And you could probably get through a good, maybe week or so without taking your insulin. You know, you might start feeling pretty sick, maybe nausea, vomiting, dizziness, profuse sweating. You get clammy, things of that nature. You may be having cramping because your pancreas is talking to your body, and you're starting to have that pain in your side. And you could probably get through a whole nother week like that. But I know for a fact, and it's like I told him, my son didn't die because he didn't get his insulin for a couple of days. My son is dead because you all intentionally did not give him his insulin for weeks. And that's why my son is dead.
And now they can't find they hadn't completed the death certificate in almost 2.5 months.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's been almost like a month and a half. I think it's been about 5 weeks. Well, 6 weeks now, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, they hadn't given him insulin. It takes a long time for your body to go into that state. It's called diabetic ketoacidosis. Your body becomes acidic, and it starts shutting down. Your organs shut down, and eventually your heart will just stop. And that's why it hurts us when we think about it, that he sat in that chair, dying, and then he died, and then he was dead. And then after he was dead, they decided to find him there.
More people have to know about it.
Absolutely.
I am in my chat. I am open for solutions. I have left my sister's number. I mean, not her number, but her name. She is on Facebook. We don't have an Instagram yet, but I need for you to go to that Facebook, reach out to her.
Well, let me correct you. I actually have an Instagram. I just got to learn how to work it to put this stuff on there.
Okay.
So it's my name as well. It's Monique.Monhay in the number 1.
Okay, so you do have an IG, and it
Yes.
is.
And if any of your listeners is willing to give me a tutorial on how to do this stuff, I'm open.
I got at MONIQUE.MONGE.
Yes, and the number 1, I think.
Okay. So you need to be accurate with that. With
No,
that, because that
Let
will
me
gonna make a difference.
let me go ahead and look.
No, you don't have to look right now, because what I'll do is I'll put it in the comment. Now, just look if you can real quick.
I think I'm on your I follow you. Oh, I'm up here trying to figure out how to get to it. It's over here. Instagram. Okay, this is the right one. So let me. Yeah, I got it. I think I was 100% correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I was right.
At Monique.MONGE
and the number 1.
Okay, so that's what I have in my chat. So, be on the lookout for an announcement in reference to maybe a balloon release or informative, peaceful rally for Almir Harris. The theme is Justice for Almir. I'm gonna put that back up here a couple of times. Y'all gonna see me screaming this. We're gonna have a weekly sit down and just discuss some things, that because it's not just about Almir, it's about preventing certain things from taking place. It could be something informative so you can see certain signs so it doesn't get there. At the end of the day, we just humans that's trying to help humans. That's all that we're trying to do. And had that been done, Almir would still be with us today. But his death was not in vain. We're gonna put work in. Whatever you need for me to do, I'm gonna end our phone call. But what I want you to, look, you got my number. Whatever you need me to do, I'm here.
Thank you so much.
No problem. And I will talk to you next week. If we don't talk before then, Friday evening, Thursday evening, you let me know what is the most, what suits you, and we're gonna hop back on here. Whatever updates, reach out to her, man. Reach out to her on Facebook. Reach out to her on Instagram. Justice for Almir Harris. I thank you so much. I thank you for bringing Almir into this world, because he helped change my life for the better, and he is the reason that other kids are receiving 100% service and no sideways stuff. So I thank you for that. And
thank you.
I will talk to you later on.
All righty. Thank you again.
No problem.
Bye-bye.
Hey man, at the end of the day, life is for the living, bro. Stay at home, cause it's a jungle out there, man. In reference to this, man, this thing touched close to home, bro, cause I work with him. I got pictures with him here. But I was able to connect with him, man. Man. He just was not cut out for prison, bro. He was not prison material. In no kind of way, bro, was he prison material at all. But it's people that's in prison right now that's getting this same treatment, bro. I can go to my phone right now where some of these pictures is like graphic, man. But I mean, it's still people that's in there that is being mistreated, man. People dying, people getting stuck up, people being sexually assaulted. Hey, man, at the end of the day, that's some bullshit. And it don't have to be that way, bro. They ain't in no foreign country. They're not in the third world country. They right here in the United States of America, bro. They right here where we supposed to be so this and so that, man. And bro, we be treating our people like they ain't shit. I ain't talking about no color. I ain't talking about no race, no none of that. I don't care nothing about none of that, bro. If you're a human, you ought to be treated like a human. And it's just that simple. And that shit not taking place. So whatever we got to do, we need to start doing. The only thing that we asking is for people to be accountable, bro. If you get paid to do a job, do your fucking job. Y'all, you get paid to house these people, to help rehabilitate. Do your job. That's it. Not no extra stuff. We don't want you to pull grapes out the sky. Just do your job. The shit you said you was gonna do, just do that. The shit you get paid to do, just do that. Because when you don't do it, bro, people fucking die. And it's not just people that's being housed. People who work at the facility, they dying, bro. Shit goofy, man. I did get emotional doing this interview, man, cause the shit real, bro. You know, I'm tough as they come, man, but at the end of the day, bro, it's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. But on a positive note, man, sometimes some of our soldiers fall so that others will see the light. I sincerely believe that I've gone through my struggle, so other people don't have to go through their struggle. Cause I be telling people all the time, I did 10 years in the chain gang, but the number of people I'm gonna help keep out of the chain gang, you're gonna wish you had to go ahead and gave me that little time and kept that little time. Cause I promise you, I'm gonna give you 100 years back. I'm gonna keep so many motherfuckers out of the chain gang, bro. It's gonna be ridiculous. I'm gonna die on that. Simple as that. So with Almir, he is a diabetic, he had autism. Like, bro, this is a crime against those people. It's a crime against those people. I'm gonna stop because I'm drinking coffee and I don't want to get on my footstool, man. I am gonna go live on my other page and stay out of prison tonight. It might be something a little light, but probably not. Stay out of prison. Hey man, go subscribe to that page right there. Stay out of prison. You can't even spell your own thing right. And it's not a hashtag, boy. I gotta turn the heat on to it. Stay out of prison is the other page. Hey man, if you ain't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe to that page, man. We're gonna have some good stuff coming on, man. I appreciate y'all. My day ones, bro. I'm gonna have to. I think I'm ready to do I don't even know what a moderator do, but I got people that come in and show it, bro. If it just be 100 people in here, or if it be 2, bro, no hard mo, be staying down. I appreciate the support, bro. I know when I see that salute, boy, that's a real one in the building, bro. I really appreciate that, man. Everybody else that came on, man, loves. I appreciate you. Everybody that came in and didn't say nothing in the chat, man, that's cool too, bro. But at the end of the day, man, let's child win. CHAIO. Why they look familiar? Hey man, the goal, if you leave with anything today, I don't care where you at, what you got going on, man. Just treat humans the way humans are to be treated by other humans, bro. That's the only thing we moving tonight. That's all we want to take place. And this shit will eventually get better. I ain't telling you we're gonna make it to heaven tomorrow. What I'm saying is if we just start treating motherfuckers how we want to be treated, man, it won't be so bad, bro. Peace out, man. I'm out.